If you're planning on moving to Albuquerque or buying a home here in the next year, you're probably wondering, are prices still going up? Is the market cooling off? And is it a good time to buy or sell here locally in the Albuquerque area? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be going over where the price points are at in today's world, how competitive the market feels, what your money can actually buy you here versus the big cities, and what you can expect in the next 12 months to come. So hang tight, grab your pen and your pad, and let's get into today's video. Let's talk numbers for a little bit, because when we break it all down in the grand scheme of things, it's almost irrelevant to talk about all these average sale prices, average home prices, and median and average home equity things, right? Because what really matters to you when you are looking to relocate down here to Albuquerque, and that's going to be the average of what you're just going to pay for the average 3-bed, 2-bath house, 1,500 square feet with a decent yard. And that is still hovering around $350,000. Now, last year they were trying to say that it was around $330,000, and that $20,000 difference, I know $20,000 is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things of a mortgage, it really isn't going to impact your mortgage a whole lot month to month. It's really going to come down to that interest rate, which we'll get into the topic of interest rates later on in the video, so make sure that you hang tight. So when we are talking about what the average sale price of a house is right now, it's $355,000. Like, again, $5,000 isn't going to make that huge of an impact when it comes down to the nitty gritty of the numbers at the end of the day. There is some points here that you may want to consider when it comes down to purchasing a house, and that's going to be the equity, the home value that you get here when you purchase a house in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And usually you're going to get around $380,000, $390,000 when it comes down to the home's value. So all depending on how much money you put down, what you purchase the house for, you can see a big return when it comes down to purchasing a house here. Now, we actually just helped somebody purchase a house in the Southwest area, first-time home buyer, and she got about $20,000 in equity right off the bat. And that's because we did a smart buy, right? We helped her negotiate a good deal, and she ended up getting a brand new roof on the house and everything. So there is ways of making sure that the numbers make sense for you, even if you are in those higher price points, right? 400, 500. If you are looking for a bigger house or a bigger lot, whatever the case is in a desired area, you can still buy smart and get a ton of equity from that house, and we can help you do that. Is the market hot? Is it cooling? Is it crashing? You know, you hear all these things in the news right now, and I have a ton of people telling me that they're waiting for the housing market to crash. I can tell you that's probably not going to happen, because although we're not seeing the increase of 10 to 15% like we were back in 2021, which was a total anomaly of a market, we are still seeing anywhere from 1 to 4% increases in home prices year after year, even here in 2025 going into 2026. So what does that mean? That means your money's going to be safe, right? Off the bat. You're going to make a pretty good investment, because on the average, right, a regular market here in Albuquerque, you're seeing about a 3% increase all over the map year after year. And that's a normal market. So to see a 1 to 4% increase is actually pretty good. It's normal, right? We'll say that it's neither good or bad. It's just normal. It is down, right? The inventory isn't just there. So we aren't seeing as many homes sell as we were seeing back in 2021 and 2022. People aren't just looking to sell right now. They got those golden handcuffs with that interest rate of 2 to 3%, and they just don't want to let it go. But when homes do come on the market, if they are priced right and they are in a great condition in a good area, they go quick. I've seen homes go within days, not 24 to 48 hours, but more to 4 to 5. And yes, if you do all that right, your house will still sell within that 98 to 99 percentile that they're saying when it comes down to your home price. So big price cuts and all that stuff, it only comes when you overprice your house and you really try to position yourself in a way that really is going to hurt you. And I can help you with all that stuff here. But what does that mean for a buyer? Well, a buyer gets a ton of opportunities right now, because the homes that are sitting a little bit longer, those sellers are willing to negotiate a little bit more, maybe a buy down, maybe a price reduction, maybe some concessions towards your prepaids and closing costs, whatever that is, right? All that terminology that we use as realtors. That can be an added benefit to you when you purchase a house here in Albuquerque. So is the housing market cooling? Is it crashing? Is it hot? I would say it's pretty normal. If you play your cards right, you can still get a pretty good deal, and you can still sell your house pretty fast here in Albuquerque. I love giving you a ton of data. for a lot of you, all of it is going to sound like a bunch of jargon. So if you're like me, you'd rather see exactly what you're going to be able to purchase when you relocate down here to Albuquerque. So let's hop on a quick tour of the MLS, take a look at some different price points and some different homes in some different areas, just so you can understand exactly what you're going to be looking at when it comes to purchasing a house here in Albuquerque. Alrighty, now taking a look at the whole entire MLS and these 3 different price points, you're going to have a few hundred homes to choose from. And I think that's more than enough homes for you to go through, study, and take a look at, just to make sure that you're going to be choosing the right area to live in and the right house. And if you need help with all that, again, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. I would love to get on a quick Zoom call and get on a tour similar like this here live and create a custom search just for you. That way you can understand what you're looking at when it comes to living here in Albuquerque. But our first price point, under $300,000, you can see that we have a house here in the Northwest. Now, the Northwest is a great area. I totally recommend it for anybody that's new to Albuquerque, just because it's a lot easier to navigate. The developments are newer, the houses are going to be newer, so you can expect that there is going to be less of a headache when it comes to living on this side of town, especially since they got newer developments constantly being built on this side of town, because it's the only other way that we can actually grow, because Albuquerque's gridlocked in most places. But this house here, you can tell that it has some charm, right? Little nice front porch, decent sized backyard, close to, some street access. That way, if you need to go down to the grocery store or whatever the case is, it's going to be super easy to do. Finished in the inside. And again, you're looking at 3 beds, 2 bath, about 1,000 square feet. So for the average family or any average person looking to move here, this is going to be just the right amount of space for you to start off with to call Albuquerque home for the next couple of years. Right? Cool curtain there. Kind of spooky vibe. But pretty average, right? It's not going to be something super bougie. It's not going to be, over the top. It's going to be just enough for what you need, especially if you're a newcomer to Albuquerque. Now let's take a look at the next price range, and we're going to be looking at something closer to $350,000. And this house here is on the northwest side, which is a little bit closer to the southwest, but it borders the northwest, so they just looped it in with the northwest side. But in all reality, it's going to be on the other side of central. So when you are looking at this neighborhood, again, you are going to have a ton of amenities super close to you. You got the Nuevo Trisco food park that they just revamped and did a whole brand new development there where all the food trucks gather, and they got seating and all that stuff. So it's actually pretty cool to see that. All the new developments on 98th Street, and then you're going to be super close to Central. So traveling to the freeway from here is going to be pretty much 10 to 15 minutes. Taking a look at this house here, cookie cutter style house, 1,800 square feet, 3 bed, 2 bath. And when you see the inside of this house, you're going to be like, man, it's deceiving. It's big, you got the vaulted ceilings, they've done some updates, and this is generally what you can expect in this price range when you are purchasing a house here in Albuquerque, especially on this side of town. Now, if you're not into the whole cookie cutter thing, we can help you find something that has a little bit more of a unique vibe to it, especially if you are looking for that Southwest style looking house. So again, right, pretty basic house. They got the millennial gray all through the house. They love it. They've kept up with the house, and a lot of houses in this price range have been kept up with because this is the new normal, and usually people are getting approved here locally in this price range. So it just makes a ton of sense for a lot of people to really upkeep with their houses and make sure that they're well presented, especially because most of the time people that are putting their houses up for sale in this price range are looking to upgrade and get a bigger home with a bigger yard. But blank slate, majority of the time here in Albuquerque, you're going to see a dirt backyard just because that's the landscape here, and we just like to keep it nice and clean. I'm sure that once it rains, you're going to get a ton of weeds because the weeds here just grow like overnight. As soon as there's some moisture in the air or in the ground, like it's crazy. So just prepare yourself for a little bit more yard work. But pretty cool little house there. And then looking at something a little bit more expensive, right? Over $450,000, which is still pretty reasonable given consideration that the average price home in the United States right now is around $450,000. Now, this house is for anybody that's looking for something with a little bit more of a unique vibe. Doesn't want to spend a ton of money updating the house. It's pretty much already done. On the northeast side of town, you're going to be able to find a house just like this one here that has already been revamped. Right, cool charm. You got this cool little front patio area in front of the house with the tree growing inside of it. Like, You're not going to find anything anywhere else in Albuquerque besides on the northeast side that has houses just like this one here. Totally redone on the inside, brand new windows, flooring, kitchen, and it's just a big open concept because that's what everybody's looking for nowadays. Nobody likes to feel closed off. Nobody likes that dining room area where it just feels like you're separated from everybody in the kitchen. So I don't know. I think this house is pretty cool. It got some modern touches and finishes to it. I like the exposed wood, the tile that they use on that fireplace. That is actually a wood burning fireplace because you don't see any gas outlets here that you can just turn it on and flip up a switch and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. On the northeast side, you're going to get a lot of this in some of the homes here. So, right. Super cool. Awesome finishes, farm style sink, big open window to the backyard, recessed lighting, backsplash, tons of room for all your appliances and all that stuff. Pantry over here, which I'm assuming is also the wash area that leads into the garage. Updated bathrooms. So yeah, there you have it. Taking a look at houses in 3 different areas of Albuquerque and 3 different price points. Again, you are going to have a multitude of different choices when it does come down to looking for a house here. So if you do get overwhelmed when you are looking for a house and you just don't know where to start, I'd love to help you out. So feel free to call or text me at any time. Okay, so let's talk about rents here in Albuquerque and rents that you could possibly be paying in these major cities in contrast to Albuquerque mortgages and what you could pay potentially for that average price home here in Albuquerque. And interest rates is a great conversation, but we all know that that's nothing that we can have some actual change to. Yes, we can help out a little bit by using some seller concessions and some lender concessions to be able to buy down that rate. You can even use your own money to help in that aspect. But let's give you a little bit of a reality when we look at things here. Now, it says here that the average rent in Albuquerque is anywhere from $1,400 to $1,500 for an apartment. If you're looking for a house, I can tell you that you're going to pay anywhere from $18,000 to $2,000, and sometimes I've even seen it get close to about $25,000. It all just depends on what side of town you're living on. Now, that is pretty close to the average rent in some of these major cities, because in major cities, you're looking around $3,000 just for an apartment. Nothing wrong with renting, nothing wrong with living in an apartment, but for those of you that are looking to secure your future and actually invest your money into a house, this is going to make a ton of sense for you. Here in Albuquerque right now, the average price home is again around $350,000. Plugging in some basic numbers here, assuming that you're getting approved for an FHA loan where you only have to put 3.5% down. And there is some great programs here locally for that first-time home buyer that can help you out. And if you want to learn more, I can connect you with our lenders. Assuming that you do have what the average interest rate is right now, which is around 6.2 for a 30-year fixed, you're looking around $2,300 a month, which is a significant difference from $3,000. That is a lot of money that you can put towards your savings, your retirement accounts, whatever it is that you want to do with that extra money. You can see now that the quality of life is just going to go up because you have a little bit more of a breathing room in your finances. Now, let's talk about a current client that we actually helped close on a house where she purchased a house for $285,000, which you just seen is very doable. And she had, again, FHA loan. She did qualify for a first-time homebuyers program. So she only had to come to the closing table with like $1,000. Believe it or not, it actually is very possible. And she had a 5.7 interest rate. This was her mortgage payment at the end of the day. $1,800. That is crazy. That is nuts. Now, I know you're looking at me like, this can't be true. This can't be possible. It's very possible. We just did it. And we continue to do it year after year because we understand the things that we're up against with these high interest rates. And I can guarantee that even going into 2026, they're saying that they're going to cut the rates. And they actually just did this week here in the midweek of December 2025, that going into 2026, they're going to hover around the low 6s, high 5s. So nothing really astronomical when it comes to that. Nothing really cool or crazy. It just is what it is. Knowing that fight that we're up against, we're doing everything possible to help you out with getting a lower mortgage payment. So what does that all mean for you, somebody that's looking to relocate or buy a house here? Well, number one, you're not going to try to time the bottom of the market. It's not just going to happen. With the steady market that we have here in Albuquerque, it's going to be really hard to time that. bottom of the market thing. What you're going to do is, instead of, paying for more or all this stuff, you're going to trade all that for stability, reasonable prices, and a more of a lifestyle upgrade. So you're going to get space, you're going to get nature, you're going to get parks, you're going to get the slower pace, all that stuff, right? So trading all that major city life stuff, you're actually going to get more benefit when it comes down here to your quality of life here in Albuquerque. Now, you are going to have more breathing room versus the other markets like in 2021, 2022. You're going to be able to really pick the house that you want and desire, because number one, maybe the house is sitting a little bit longer. Maybe the house is overpriced. And instead of focusing on getting, 1 to 2% off the purchase price, you're actually trying to focus on doing more practical things like saving money on your closing costs, your down payment, or actually buying down your interest rate, which we all don't have any control over, but getting some control back. That's how you can use the seller's concessions towards helping that mortgage payment come down for a little bit, to buy you some time to wait for those lower than 6, maybe 5.5% interest rates, right? I don't know if it's going to happen. We're hoping that it does. They're actually predicting that it's going to go down to the lower 6s this next coming year. We're probably not going to see interest rates go, down below 5. So that's my prediction. You can make your own assumptions based off of what you're seeing. I'd love to hear what you got to say down in the comments below. Now, for sellers, if you're watching this and you're a local, here's what I recommend to you. If you want to sell to somebody that is relocating and watching this video, what you're going to want to do is actually price for the reality of what's going on in today's market. You're not going to want to overprice yourself, because it's going to hurt you more in the long term versus anything else, right? The market is still favoring sellers in a ton of ways, because you're probably sitting on a ton of equity, especially if you purchased a house 5 years ago. I know people that have anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 in equity, and it's just making a lot of sense for them to sell right now because people are still buying. The reality of the market is that we don't control interest rates and home prices are still high, so people are getting over the fact that that's the new reality, right? This is a new normal. So if you're a seller looking to do that, make sure that your house is in a good condition, it's presented well, it's staged, it's cleaned up, and you do all the things that your realtor recommends you to do. And I can help you really get ready to sell your house when it comes down to making that decision, if you are planning to do so here in the next couple of months. So the reality of the Albuquerque market in 2025 going into 2026 is that, yes, prices are at an all-time high. Inventory is slowly growing. Interest rates are still high, but not enough to shut down the market. Now, if you are moving here, here's a couple of trade-offs that you're going to have. Number one is the price of houses here in Albuquerque. You're going to see that some of these other major cities, the prices go well over $450,000 and $500,000, which is a lot of money to be spending, especially with a higher interest rate. Now, you are also going to be trading that expensive major city lifestyle for the slow pace, less expensive, more practical living that we have here in Albuquerque. So your money's going to go a lot further. So if you are ready for that and you do want to figure out what you can purchase here in Albuquerque, I can help you with that. I can help you by getting on a quick Zoom call, taking a look at the market, taking a look at your wants and needs, your budget and all that stuff, and making sure that you really understand what you can purchase here in Albuquerque going into 2026. Now, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to call or text me at any time. I'd love to chat with you. I'm chatting with people all over the country all week just to make sure that they understand what is the reality of purchasing a house here in Albuquerque. Now, I'd like to figure out what you're interested in. Is it home prices? Is it the style of houses here? Is it the lifestyle? What is it? Comment down below and let me know. And if you are looking for more information, down in the description is a free relocation guide for you to download. Figure out the average home price, the average population, top neighborhoods, things to do here, all that stuff. Within that guide, I've compiled all that stuff for you. So go ahead and download it. It's free. It's just for you. And I'm excited to chat with you. I'm ready to help you understand what the reality of living here in Albuquerque looks like for you and your specific wants and needs. So if you're ready, I'd love to chat. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.